What's going on, everybody? This is Brandon from Aflo and welcome back to another video. Today I have the video of Trump that they do not want you to see. This is about a little bit over an hour long of a bunch of clips of Trump I think everyone should watch just before voting this year. If you guys haven't seen already, I did a 2.5 hour one of Biden. It is on my channel. The link will be the first thing in my description. Both of these videos I think are absolute must watches before anyone votes. I know some people already voted out there, which is a shame, but please share this around to absolutely anyone you can. There are millions and millions of people that are completely uninformed going into this election that have no idea what's really been going on the past few years, and it is a shame. So again, I don't want to waste any more time. Please share this around and I hope you guys enjoy.
Anything about Donald Trump being racist until he ran for president and won. Before then, everybody was like, oh, he's on WWE, he on different shows. Everybody, they like Donald Trump. As soon as he ran for president, because people don't like the truth.
Hi.
What's your name?
Salamnish.
What?
Salamnish.
Oh, that's say it.
My name's Salamnish.
And do you know that where are your parents? Where are your parents? Wow, congratulations. What a job. What a beautiful person you are. Thank you, honey.
For some people, the ultimate goal in life has been becoming the President of the United States. Would you like to be the President of the United States?
I really don't believe I would run it, but I would like to see somebody as the president who could do the job, and there are very capable people in this country.
Most people who are capable are not running for office. Most men are frightened of politics today.
It is a shame, isn't it?
Yes.
It is a shame. The most capable people are not necessarily running for political office, and that is a very sad commentary on the country. They had major corporations and they had this and that, but they are not running for political office.
Why wouldn't someone like yourself run for political office? You have all the money that you possibly need. You've accomplished a great deal, even though you are only 34. I know there's a lot of things that you possibly can do in the years ahead. Why wouldn't you dedicate yourself to public service?
Because I think it's a very mean life. I would love and I would dedicate my life to this country, but I see it as being a mean life, and I also see it as somebody with strong views and somebody with the kind of views that are maybe a little bit unpopular, which may be right, but may be unpopular, wouldn't necessarily have a chance of getting elected against somebody with no great brain but a big smile. And that's a sad commentary for the political process.
You have to take care of women's health issues. You have to take care of poor people that they're never going to have a shot. And you have to take care of African-American youth who have never been in a worse position than they are right now. The unemployment rate is like 55%. They can't get jobs. I think that we actually do have a lot of control. I'm not saying you control everything, you don't. But certainly I have a lot more control that way than sitting in, a beautiful Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue and running my company. I think I can make a big difference. If I didn't think I could make a difference, I wouldn't be doing this.
I think the economy is doing absolutely great, and it's particularly reaching into populations that heretofore have had very bad problems in terms of jobs, unemployment, and the opportunities that come with full employment. So African American unemployment is at its lowest level. I give President Trump, and I've said this before on Squawk Box, I give President a lot of credit for moving the economy in a positive direction that's benefiting a large number of Americans. I think the tax cuts clearly helped stimulate the economy. I think business people have a little bit more confidence in the way the economy is going.
Nay.
Now, he's supposed to look like Donald Trump, but he's actually much too good looking. You are really handsome. Do you want to go back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Trump.
Don't give up. Don't allow it to happen. If there's a concrete wall in front of you, go through it, go over it, go around it, but get to the other side of that wall. This is the weakest presidential. Oh. Go ahead, say it. Go ahead. 100-year-old veteran right here. Wow. God, he looks beautiful. 100, huh?
Looks better than I do. 100, that's great. What's your name? Well, I want to thank you very much, and he does not need Regeneron, okay? That I can tell you. You look fantastic, so sit down and enjoy it, okay? What a beautiful guy. 100, you look beautiful. Thank you, congratulations. That's nice, great, I'm glad you pointed it out. Here today, thank you again for coming to the White House. Now, I want to take a good look around, because if you keep learning, you keep trying, and you keep dreaming, one day you might be standing exactly right here where I'm standing. I want to tell you, it's not that easy. I also want to say a special thanks to each of you, because it's your smiles and love of your parents after a long day's work that helps make everything here possible. It's what really makes them come back and back and back, and it what really makes them do a very special job, the job they do. So I want to thank you for supporting your moms and your dads. They are special people. Do we agree they're special? Say, I love you, Mom and Dad. That's true. Never take drugs. Don't drink alcohol. Don't smoke. Enjoy your life, okay?
And totally ridiculous that this country sits back and allows a country such as Iran to hold our hostages, to my way of thinking, is a horror.
The 3 American hostages finally back on U.S. soil after being held captive in North Korea for more than a year.
Are you sure you really want to be president and you can never turn it off?
I want to make the country great again. It's just fun. It's okay. I had no idea I was going to do this well this fast. I thought it would be much longer, and we have to keep it going because we still have a long way to go. But I want to, this country has such potential. I love the country. I loved also, though, my other life. My other life, I was never really private per se, but I was pretty private by comparison to what's happening now. We're going to do a fantastic job. I'm enjoying it. We are going to make this country so amazing again. And the word again is very important, because you have to add that in. It was good. I think we can make it better than ever before. We have to unleash it. People have lost their spirit.
Television, in a strange way, has ruined that process, hasn't it?
It's hurt the process very much. I mean, the Abraham Lincolns of the world. Abraham Lincoln would probably not be electable today because of television. He was not a handsome man, and he did not smile at all. He would not be considered to be a prime candidate for the presidency, and that's a shame, isn't it?
Quick final question. Trump, when you have him on the show, the minute the camera goes off, is it a different guy or is it the same guy?
Same guy.
Exact same?
Oh, yeah. How did I do? Was I good? I know I was good. You know, tell him I was good. His wife's great, too. Yeah. She's a great lady. He has great kids. There's a lot to be said for Donald Trump. Yeah, there's a lot, you know. He's a good guy. He is really a good guy. He's not a racist.
Yeah.
He's not. He plays to that crowd.
But he doesn't talk that way.
No.
Interesting.
Not at all.
Interesting. He's a showman, too. We can tell that. Very.
Donald Trump stood up for me when they talked bad about me, and people said, "What do you think about this convicted rapist?" Said he was for you. He responded, and he said, he accepted my, vouching for it. He accepted that and said, Mike is my friend, and I respected that.
So, I'm not a very political person, I'll start there, but let me say this. There's things that I can tell you about the President of the United States that you don't hear on TV and you don't hear from other people. Like you said, I've known this man for 20 years. We've actually become even closer since he's become the President of the United States. When somebody becomes the President of the United States, you don't ever expect to hear from them again, okay? And I understand it. It absolutely makes sense. This guy is so loyal and such a good friend. Every time I see him, I saw him today when I met him on Air Force One, the first thing he said to me is, "How is your family? How is your family?" Good man, very loyal, and a very good friend. I see a lot of things from Mr. Trump that the public doesn't see. And the people who surround me every day see how this man treats me as a friend and other people he's friends with. He's a fighter. He loves this country.
And I do. I like him personally. He's an incredibly loyal guy if you're loyal to him. He was very loyal to me throughout my tenure in America. One of the few when I came home who stayed in touch and regularly rang just to check how I was. I appreciated that. On this interview, he promised it to me, and a year later, he delivered that what he knew was a big scoop.
Well, President Trump honoring the memory of a fallen Marine sergeant and the family he left behind in an emotional speech at Arlington National Cemetery yesterday. Listen.
7-year-old Christian Jacobs. I met Christian exactly 1 year ago today. Christian walked over to me with great confidence, shook my hand, looked me straight in the eye, and asked if I would like to meet his dad. And he led me to his dad's grave, and we paid our respects together. It was a moment I will always remember.
I deal with that fight often myself on social media. I'm a huge supporter of Trump. I'm not really popular amongst certain people, but like I tell people, when it comes to the support of Trump, skin color is zero the reason. We all a family. It's the United States. People have to understand that, we all have a beautiful opportunity in this country, and he fights for that dream and that opportunity. I don't think I'd be where I am in my life or the opportunities that I would have if it wasn't for courageous people like Trump. He's heroic, he's courageous, and I love him.
The father of Horace Lorenzo Anderson told us that he still has not received a call about his son's death from the mayor of Seattle. But he did get a condolence call this morning from President Donald Trump. Q13's Matt Lorch has more on the memorial from Kent.
I still ain't heard from the mayor. Incredibly, Donald Trump called me. The President of the United States called me today and talked to me today.
What did he say?
He gave his condolences, and me, I'm not a political guy, so I'm not, but I told him, I didn't know nobody like you. I'm real. I said, don't nobody like you, but on this camera, I tell you right now, Donald Trump called me, and he didn't have to call me. He didn't have...
Future construction worker. What are you looking for? What kind of a position? Come up here, come here. She looks so smart, good. Do you mind if I do a job interview right now? We need good people. How are you? So what's your experience in front of the world?
Well, I design, I do wreaths, I do all types of decorations.
And you like this building?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
So here's what I'm going to do. There's the man. Stand right over here.
Oh my God.
If we can make a good deal in the salary, she's going to probably have a job, okay? All right, good. Have a good time. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. Good. Thank you. So nice. Really nice. I felt good about her. I tell you what, I looked at her. I said, I have gut instinct, okay? And we're allowed to have that. And I looked at her, and she asked a question, and it was a very positive question. She looks like she's got a great look, and look at that with the tears. How nice. She just seemed like a good person to me.
Well, we've got one loyal, out-of-luck Trump supporter. He got the surprise of his life this past weekend. He's 24-year-old single dad. He's Shane Bouvet. He worked an overnight shift to support his children, and he campaigned for President Trump during the campaign. This while fighting an expensive custody battle, and he's also taking care of a father suffering from cancer. His hard work did not go unnoticed. President Trump personally invited him to attend his inauguration, but that's not all. The man himself, Shane Bouvet, he's here to tell us the rest. Hey, Shane. Wow, what a guy you are, Shane. Besides inviting you.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks for coming on the show. President Trump personally met with you as well. Can you tell us how that came about?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, actually, I was with some friends, and we were going over to New York City. I always wanted to visit Trump Tower. It's just such a beautiful place after experiencing it. And we were on our way back, and I got a call from one of Trump's staff members, and they called me and said, hey, are you Shane Bouvet? I was like, yeah. And they said, Donald Trump read the Washington Post and was inspired by it, and he'd like to to talk to you. Well, I started stuttering because I'm like, oh, Donald Trump, my hero, you know. So I was just so blessed with that. And she goes, you know, I'm going to do something better for you. I'm going to get you some VIP tickets, and Trump would like to have you at the welcome ceremony. And it just was great. Wow, I just can't believe how it happened. I just feel so blessed and honored even to be on here. I feel,
So wait,
wow.
he gave you a check? He gave you a $10,000 check?
Yeah, he ended up, well, after I met him, it was just, so I started walking in the white tent, and they all started clapping, and I felt God's presence in there. I really did. And, you know, and Donald Trump is the most genuine, humble, caring person I've ever met in my life. And I owe everything to him. You know, he did a lot for my dad, who's battling cancer, and I don't ever know how to repay him, but...
what did he do for your dad?
He turned around and said, take care of him. And then he leaned over and said, write him a check for $10,000. And wow, I just can't thank him enough. Wow,
Hey,
you're a hero.
Shane,
So.
did the president speak with your father?
Yes, he did. He spoke with my dad, and wow, my dad was just so happy. He gave him that extra fight, you know, during this battle, you know. So, like I said, when I met Donald Trump, I felt God's presence in that tent. I really did.
Look, I'll tell you what. You want another 50 grand, I'll cut the grass for you every Saturday.
Look, folks, before we go too far, I've got something to tell you.
Excuse me, but I've got something to tell you first. Thank you for ruining my life.
Ashley!
What did you do?
Everybody's always blaming me for everything.
Donald Trump is what Americans love. Donald Trump is what Americans aspire to be. Rich, powerful, do what you want to do, say what you want to say, be how you want to be.
People say something false, I attack those people. Because the news gets away with murder, the news media. They get away with murder. You're tough in terms of libel laws because the media is so protected, and it's ridiculous that they're so protected, but they can write virtually anything. The difference is, with me, at least they pay some price. And I think more people should have that attitude, and I think you'd find a lot more accurate reporting, including yours. What was inaccurate so far? I thought your demeanor was inaccurate. I thought that questions that you were posing to people in my organization were inaccurate and false and unfair.
Well, questions by definition can't be inaccurate. The questions.
Well, I think the questions themselves were put in such a way that made them statements, and they became statements as opposed to questions, and I think that's not good reporting.
Is the President of the United States a racist?
This is a behavior of a toddler who is not getting his way.
We heard from a president held in low regard by most Americans.
His ego is too much in the way here.
Donald Trump is not a man who deals particularly well with opposition.
There is a national emergency, I would submit, and we saw it last night. It's him.
A new study finding mainstream media coverage of President Trump was 90% negative last year in 2018. But despite the media's disapproval, public opinion of the president actually went up last year. So did the spin really matter?
Those in the financial community I'm talking about, and we talked about this on the phone, who have said, and this is them saying it, not me.
This is them? What do you mean by them? This is one or two people, and what about the positive people?
5 or 6, but the ones who said negative things, and
here we are.
Well, we've got to talk
back to the negative.
Back to the negative.
Back to the. You know what? Do this interview with somebody else.
Well, we talked about this yesterday on the phone. This is exactly what we talked about.
Do the interview with somebody else. Yeah, you don't need this. Do it with somebody else. And have a good time. Because frankly, you're a very negative guy, and I think it's very unfair reporting. Good luck.
I disagree with you. Sorry you feel that way.
That's pretty crazy. Did I just talk to the President of the United States on the phone?
I have President Donald Trump for you.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, hold on 1 minute.
All right, sounds good.
Hello?
Holy Christ, what do I get to...
All right, Jay, you
Hey.
look handsome to me. I just saw a picture of you.
No, you're giving me kind honors. I look like...
How are you doing? How's it going, Jay?
It's going, you know what I mean? I'm,
You're a champ. You're gonna
That's-
fight it, right? You just fight it?
it's what the Irish do, right?
Yeah, that's what the Irish do. You better believe it.
Yeah.
You look good. I wish
wish you could come to a rally. I wish you could come. I know you like that stuff, and I wish you could.
Well, listen, hey.
It sounds like you have a great sister, Jay.
Well, you know, like we have sibling rivalries, fights, you know, whatever it is. But hey, listen, if you could pencil me in, I'll find a way to get there.
That's. I'll tell you what. When I'm up around that territory, and I know where you live, I know it well.
Yeah.
When I'm up around that territory, where you'll be sitting front row center, Jay.
All right. Well, I plan on coming down to D.C. between now and my expiration date. So whatever. Either way.
You don't even talk about expiration date.
Oh no, I'm not. No.
You'll be surprised. You know, I know my people. You're gonna be surprised. I just sent you a little note too. I wrote out a little note. So I guess we sent it to your sister or whatever, but you'll get that. But I read a beautiful story about you, and I just said I want to call that man. That's my kind of guy.
Yeah. Mr. President, I through thick and thin, you know, there's been a lot of thicks.
Right.
And there's been a lot of thins.
Right.
I support you.
Wow, that's beautiful, man. We love you, Jay. We love you, man. And that's really beautiful. What you just said is, I won't forget it. I won't forget it. And what we'll do is, you just hang tough. A lot of good things are happening, too. Don't kid yourself. A lot of good things are happening in terms of the medical stuff.
Yeah.
So you just hang tough. You're gonna surprise. We'll be talking in 10 years from now, I hope, too.
Oh, like I said, you know, I plan on voting for you in 2020.
And
I
if we
will.
do anything up there, I want to get you over there. I'll get you up to that rally. I'll have you right in the center, right smack in the middle. You're my kind of guy. You're my kind of man, Jay.
Yeah. I try to be.
And
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. And say hello to your family and sister and everybody. And I'll talk to you again, Jay, okay?
All right, thank you very much.
You keep that fight going. We both fight, okay? You keep that going, okay?
I will do my end. Thank you for calling and
It's an honor.
thank you. No, it's an honor for me too as well.
Thanks, Jay.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I think the one thing is I'm a nice person. I love helping people. I have great relationships with people. People think of me as not necessarily nice, but they think of me as very competent. You know, it was very interesting. A woman heard a speech, and I got a very high poll number, but on leadership, I was by far the highest, by many times. On finance and economics and the economy, I was number one by many, many times. I was killing everybody.
But what about niceness?
Except on niceness, I was like last. And I said to the people, it was crazy, a CNN poll. And I said to the people, I said, you know, it's sort of interesting. Number one, I think I am a nice person. I help people. And a woman came up to me, she said, but are you nice enough to be president? I said, I hope I am. I think I'm a nice person. I have great relationships. But I think this is going to be an election based on competence, and we need competence. Enough with the niceness. This country's in bad trouble. We need competence. And I've said it to a lot of people, Monica. This is going to be an election based on competence. It's enough with the nice. We're tired of being beaten up by China, by Japan, by Mexico, by every single country that does business with us. And
I've been as bellicose in my rhetoric as he has, and the North Koreans have now come to the table and said they will march alongside South Koreans at the Winter Olympics. Trump would see that as a win for his own rather bull in the china shop diplomatic tactics, and quite hard to argue right now.
And what about him as a man? Did you notice a change in him?
He hadn't changed a bit.
Really?
Not a bit. He was still exactly the same. Look, he's very brash, self-confident, bombastic. He can be charming, and that's a side I haven't seen nearly enough of him as president. When I did the Celebrity Apprentice, I was with him for hundreds of hours. He can be very charming, very funny. We saw glimpses of that last night, and I wanted people to see that side because it slightly demonsterizes him when you see him like that.
You are a mover, you are a doer. If you could make America perfect, how would you do it?
Well, I think that America is a country that has tremendous, tremendous potential. I think that much like the mind, I think that America is using very, very little of its potential. I feel that this country with the proper leadership can go on to become what it once was.
Under a new law signed by President Donald Trump on Monday, animal cruelty is now a federal crime.
The Preventing Animal Cruelty and Torture Act expands on a 2010 animal cruelty law that outlawed creating or distributing videos of animals being intentionally injured or killed. But that law only targeted the creation and sale of videos, not the acts of cruelty themselves. This new measure, which passed both chambers of Congress with bipartisan support, closes that loophole. Anyone now found guilty of animal cruelty will face a fine and up to 7 years in prison. Animal welfare activists applauded the new anti-cruelty law, saying it was long overdue. More than 100 law enforcement agencies also supported the measure. Those agencies say there's often a link between animal abuse and violent crimes against humans.
Donna, we've got some questions for you.
Hi, Mr. Trump, you've done great things in your life, and I just wonder, how do I, as an average person, begin?
Well, first of all, never think of yourself as average. You started off with the wrong question because you're not average. You've got a lot going. I see you're smart. You have to tell yourself that you just have to get that word average out of your vocabulary, and you have to tell yourself that you're great, and you have to believe it. If you can say it and don't believe it, it doesn't matter. So just go out there and work hard.
Many people talk about their success, but few would share on their failures. Mr. Trump, how do you find success after a failure?
Well, look, in the early 90s, I had a lot of trouble. We had a real estate collapse. Everybody was, half of my friends were going bankrupt. They were good builders, good developers. They were in deep trouble. I was in very deep trouble. I owed billions and billions of dollars. The fact is, you just have to keep on chugging. You have to keep going. If you focus, if you stay focused, if you know what you're doing, if you learn your subject, but if you really love what you're doing, you're going to succeed. You're going to succeed. Well, branding is very interesting. A lot of people have asked me, did I do this consciously? And I'm not sure that I did. I'd love to tell you I'm so smart that I could just do this, what I've done with the Trump brand. I was a little bit lucky in that I had a name that worked. If I had a name, Donald Smith, it would be hard to be branding the name Smith. But Trump is a very unique name. And in a way, in that sense, I was lucky to have that name. But I've always stressed really quality. I want to go quality all the way. I've always stressed that quality. People come from Germany, from England, from Japan, from all over the world to buy my buildings and to buy things that I'm doing because they know it's going to be quality. Today's zoning, they want contextual. You can't build higher than 6 stories. You can't do this. I'm building a building in Soho. It's called Trump Soho. It's a spectacular building, a beautiful building. It's going to be 44 stories tall. Everybody, they pick it. It's too tall. In Dubai, you go 150 stories. How about 200 stories? They're just ahead of the curve. This country, our country that we all love, it better get smart because you're going to lose the mojo. You're going to lose the momentum. Places are really making you welcome, whether it's Dubai or Qatar and so many other great places. They're making you welcome to be there.
I guess I just wanted to find out if there was one thing that you wanted people to remember about Donald Trump. What is it?
Well, I think just generally, never, ever quit. I never quit. I may have made some mistakes and I may have made some bad decisions, but I never, ever quit. I never give up. And sometimes that persistence, I've seen so many people over the years that are so smart and they don't have that stick-to-itiveness. They just can't go the long rounds. And just if I can impart one thing, and there's so many, love what you do, know what you're doing, so many different things, but never, ever give up. This was a meeting that was going to last for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and we were just going to get to know each other. We had never met each other. I have great respect. The meeting lasted for almost an hour and a half, and it could have, as far as I'm concerned, it could have gone on for a lot longer. We really, we discussed a lot of different situations, some wonderful and some difficulties. I very much look forward to dealing with the president in the future, including counsel. He explained some of the difficulties, some of the high-flying assets, and some of the really great things that have been achieved. So, Mr. President, it was a great honor being with you, and I look forward to being with you many, many more times in the future. Thank you, sir.
Mr. President.
Thank you, everybody. We are not going to be taking any questions. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Here's a good rule. Don't answer any questions when they just start. It's always the last one. Come on, guys. Yeah, come on, guys. Let's go. Very good man. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
I also want to thank the United States of America. I'd like to thank our dear Honorable Mr. President for being, as they say in Yiddish, a Mensch par excellence. Mr. President, when you called me, I was at home weeping. You were the first person who began my healing. You heal people in their worst of times, and I'm so grateful for that.
So good. That's so good. Thank
You have helped me bring great honor to Mrs. Lori Kay of blessed memory, a 60-year-old dear friend of our congregation. I've known her for 25 years, a staunch volunteer. She works for the Friendship Circle, an organization that helps children with special needs. This year, on June 2nd, we're doing a march in her memory to show that nothing is going to stop us. We're going to march with victory, and you helped us bring Lori Kay great honor. And God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you.
The left knows exactly how to bait black people because they use things like racism. Can I give an example? The other day, Michelle Obama went on TV. She gave a whole speech, talked about how Trump was this and Trump was that. And at the very end of what she said, she made sure to say, and yes, it is racist. You know why? Because the minute you call anything racist or you add race into it, black people get emotional and they come out. Kamala did the same thing because they know how to bait black people in. The problem is black people are stuck looking at CNN and the rest of that stuff. And here's my thing, and I've told black people this before, who are Democrat. I don't try to convince Democrats to be Republican. What I try to convince them to do is know your history and read a little bit. Do your research. If you still want to vote Democrat, do what you do, but be an educated and an informed voter. Most Democrats can't tell you why they're Democrats. They just hate Donald Trump. They can't even tell you what Biden did in 47 years, but they're going to vote for him. They can't tell you what Kamala did while she was in California, locking black people up left and right.
It's all over TV that the folks here tonight have helped a great World War II veteran into the arena. I don't know if he knows it, but he's right now the hottest celebrity in the world. I don't know what's going on here. He might even be hotter than Trump right now, I have to say. Did you see the scene? No, he's all over television. Even fake news, CNN had him on. But they say he's a legitimate great hero of World War II, Irvin Julian. Irvin, thank you. But I really believe we'd be up 20 points. I mean, all they do is negative, phony stuff. Russia, Russia, Russia. The impeachment hoax. That's a hoax. You know, there have never been rallies like that. Sleepy Joe Biden the other day had 68 people. And now they have a new member of the crew, Mini Mike. Mini Mike. No boxes. We call them no boxes. And I hear he's getting pounded tonight. You know he's in a debate. I hear they're pounding him. He spent $500 million so far. And I think he has 15 points. It just came out. Hey, fake news, how many points does he have right now? 15? They won't tell you the truth. Then they had this idiot Steyer. We call him Impeachment Steyer. How did that work out, Steyer? He's another beauty. The guy he spent $210 million. He got 1/3 of 1% in Iowa. And in New Hampshire, he did much better. He got less than 3%. Guy's in there for like $250 million. How did it work out, Steyer? You jerk. I never even heard of it. I never even heard of him.
I told him about my wife watching the TV, him, all day. I said, the reason he's watching you, because she was diagnosed with cancer just now and she has to keep her mind off the treatment. He couldn't believe that. Picks up the phone, calls her for 6 minutes. And every time he comes to Phoenix, he calls my wife. In fact, a month ago he was here. He was a little late getting on the stage, but he had to talk to my wife. Come on. He had me hooked on July of last year. Hooked. He didn't have to go through my wife to get to me, like another candidate running for president. Wife called me to get me to meet her husband to get an endorsement. So this is the type of guy. And the reason I talk about that is because he's taking a lot of heat about women and all this stuff. I wanted to show my personal opinion of him. So that's why I don't forget those things. So how can I turn him down if he wanted some help?
The Middle East has made a significant step towards peace after Israel, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain signed historic deals. US President Donald Trump presided over a ceremony at the White House today as leaders signed the Abraham Accords. The declarations are intended to formalise the normalisation of diplomatic relations between Israel and the two Gulf nations. The UAE and Bahrain are the first Arab countries to sign diplomatic recognition accords with Israel in almost 26 years. President Trump declared the pact the dawn of a new Middle East.
This is peace in the Middle East without blood all over the sand. I say it. Right now, it's been blood all over the sand for decades and decades and decades. That's all they do is they fight and kill people, and nobody gets anything.
The agreements do not address the decades-long Israeli-Palestinian conflict, despite Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calling the day a pivot of history.
The blessings of the peace we make today will be enormous. Let us put all cynicism aside. Let us feel on this day the pulse of history. For long after the pandemic is gone, the peace we make today will endure.
But we have a very strong border right now, and we have to keep it that way. But we want people to come into our country, but they have to come in through a merit system, and they have to come in legally. And people are very, very happy with it. You haven't heard any complaints about that.
I'm going to let you in on something. The Democrats just think that they're entitled to the Latino vote. They think that we just have to hand it over to them. That's right. We sure as hell don't. Así mismo. Así mismo. They got to show us what they can do for us, what they can do for our communities. We're not going to buy the same wolf tickets and false promises that destroyed great countries like Venezuela and Cuba. It's not going to happen. You know what else is not going to work for them? Playing Despacito on your cell phone to pander to us. Hell no. You got to give us some credit for having heads on our shoulders. I'm going to wrap this up. Some words of Barack Obama. He said elections have consequences. That is true. And those words have never been more true than they are today. We either re-elect President Trump and keep America great. Amen. Or we let Joe Biden destroy the greatest country the world has ever seen. Now, I'm a professional athlete and I've been one for most of my life, so I've always seen things through a sports lens. That makes Donald Trump our head coach. And before the global pandemic, we were winning Super Bowls. And when you're winning Super Bowls, you don't fire the coach. Doesn't matter if you don't like the plays he runs, the players he puts on the field, or what he says on Twitter. You sure as hell don't replace him for another coach that's been in the business for 47 years at every level and never won a fucking game.
The problem you have is Nancy Pelosi. She couldn't care less about the worker. She couldn't care less about our people. And we should have a stimulus, and I want a stimulus. The Republicans will approve a stimulus. The problem is she doesn't want to do it because she thinks it's bad for her election. The fact is she's wrong because people know she's in our way. She's not approving it. She doesn't appreciate our people, and she doesn't appreciate at all our workers. Nancy Pelosi, we are ready to sign and pass stimulus.
We are a country that stands united in condemning hate and evil in all of its very ugly forms. The anti-Semitic threats targeting our Jewish community and community centers are horrible and are painful and a very sad reminder of the work that still must be done to root out hate and prejudice and evil. About the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. Those who spread violence in the name of bigotry strike at the very core of America. Love for America requires love for all of its people. When we open our hearts to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice, no place for bigotry, and no tolerance for hate. We have it in our power, should we so choose, to lift millions from poverty, to help our citizens realize their dreams, and to ensure that new generations of children are raised free from violence, hatred, and fear. We want our country to be a place where every child from every background can grow up free from fear, innocent of hatred, and surrounded by love, opportunity, and hope. There must be no tolerance for anti-Semitism in America or for any form of religious or racial hatred or prejudice. We must never ignore the vile poison of anti-Semitism or those who spread its venomous creed. With one voice, we must confront this hatred anywhere and everywhere it occurs. We forcefully condemn the evil of anti-Semitism and hate, which must be defeated. In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. Cock-a-doodle-doo, folks. I'm Donald Trump.
It's Donald Trump's long-lost Saturday Night Live sketch from 11 years ago.
Trump, you know our wings will make you happy. Trophy!
Trump dances with SNL cast members dressed as chickens in this commercial for Donald Trump's House of Wings.
Come on, get the dancers back.
For some reason, the sketch has been deleted from the official DVD, giving rise to all sorts of conspiracy theories. Somebody doesn't want you to see this sketch.
The sketch, by the way, has actually been removed, I don't know why, from Hulu, from some of SNL's greatest hits. It's unclear why.
Trump has been a favorite SNL target for years and managed to joke about his image when he hosted in 2004.
It's great to be here at Saturday Night Live, but I'll be completely honest. It's even better for Saturday Night Live that I'm here.
Now here's more lost footage from 1989 when Trump was sitting in the audience for SNL's 15th anniversary show and Chevy Chase dumped popcorn on him.
Acres is the place to be.
By the way, Trump has demonstrated his performing chops on shows besides SNL. Here he is in overalls singing the Green Acres theme at the 2005 Emmy Awards.
Green Acres, we are there. When it comes to the assumption that all black people should be Democrats, why does that exist?
If I can be completely honest, for myself, I was raised that way. I was raised that, you vote Democrat because you're black. But most of us don't really look into policies, and we don't look into who's passing the policies that are helping our community. We just believe in the things that people tell us instead of actually going under the hood. We stay on the surface too much.
They continue to vote for policies and people who keep pocketing the money that we are paying in taxes to be helping our communities, and instead they're funneling into other stuff. Then they're saying, oh, why doesn't anything get done? Well, because you keep voting for the same people and then you don't hold them accountable.
Because I'm from Chicago, the only type of leadership I know is the liberal democratic leadership, and that leadership has greatly failed my people. Our neighborhoods are filled with vacant lots, drug addicts, drug dealers, and guns. And I just feel like we deserve more. This is the United States of America. This isn't an indictment against them, but it's time for us to try something new because the policies that we've been following have failed.
Go do some research, all right? Go do your research. Do not go based on what you see on CNN. Do not go based on what Cardi B tells you. Do not go based on what The Rock tells you. Go do your own research and see what Trump has done in 4 years and see what Biden has done in 47 years and weigh it out.
Yep.
That's it.
I was extremely disappointed when I saw that. I was promised so many times by them and to my manager and myself just over and over again that it was a positive article that I was giving them, and that's how it was going to be depicted, that it was not a hit piece, that it was just each person's rendition of their experiences with Donald Trump, and mine
like they spun
was...
your experience. Yeah, as you say, in effect, you feel like they spun it into a negative.
They absolutely did. I don't have a negative story to give about Donald Trump because I don't have a negative, account of anything. Well, we had a great relationship. I just really felt like that they misled me into that the entire time, into that article, and that it was almost a trap.
I'm going to let her speak for herself, but I think readers of the story can digest what happened to her at Mar-a-Lago in 1990. They were at an evening pool party, and he asked her, after taking a long tour of Mar-a-Lago, if she had brought a bathing suit. When she said she had not, he opened a drawer of bathing suits. The story is a little involved, but ultimately he said he asked her to put on one of those bathing suits. She did, and then he brought her out back to the pool in the crowd and essentially asked the crowd, did they all think that she was a beautiful Trump lady? Mm-hmm. And I recall in my interview with her that she expressed she basically said, I was taken aback by this. And I think that's how we depict it. And I think people can evaluate the story kind of on its own merits.
So is that an accurate depiction of your conversations?
Honestly, if he would have written it more like that, it would have been closer to the truth. I still, the way that he's using it makes it look like paraded me. I never said that he paraded me anywhere, and that word keeps coming up. I think it's a negative, ugly word. He did not parade me anywhere. He didn't force me to put anything on. He didn't take me out there and ask anybody, what do you think? Do you think? Is she this?
You said you were flattered.
He didn't ask anybody anything. He said, now that's a stunning Trump girl. And I was very flattered. I was indeed flattered, and I made that very clear to the writer, that I was flattered by that. He never, ever was like that anywhere near me, nor was he with any women that I ever saw him around. He was nothing but a gentleman, very gracious to women. They liked him. They were very pleasant. Every woman I ever met had respect for him, and extreme respect he had for them as well. And everybody was just, I never saw or heard him speak illy of any woman or man, for that matter, to be honest with you. I was not happy with the way that the article was written, and I was promised that it wouldn't be done that way, and it absolutely was. I don't think it was fair to me. And I don't really think it's fair to him. It seems to me like they must have some sort of agenda and they're following it. And hearing what you played back from Michael, it was a much more buffered version of what was actually printed. And if they are saying that those were direct quotes from me, they were not direct quotes. And again, even the parts that were quoted, immediately the rest of the sentence would be immediately following, I was going to say, but the rest of the sentence was, and I was flattered by that, or it was such a boyish charm of his that I wasn't used to, because you would expect something more bold and brash out of him, but he really had a gentle personality compared to what my judgment of it would have been, coming into meeting him. But he was a very, very down-to-earth, lovely person. I've never seen anything harsh.
We're back with Donald Trump. Gary Bush Jr. is on the way. Donald, poor Tom Brady has been dragged into all of this. He was on the cover of the Daily News today. Brady has no balls. What do you make of this?
Well, I'll tell you what, I guess he had a news conference, and he's a very good friend of mine. He's a great guy. By the way, this is a great guy and a winner, a champion. He's fantastic. Now, if I were in New England and said that, the place would go crazy. Here,
right,
they're tired of getting beaten.
We have no football team, so we have no opinion on any of this.
But no, Tom's a great guy, and I guess there was something where everyone was saying, what about Donald Trump? What about this? What about that? And they had to end the news conference. But I want to tell you, Tom Brady is a winner. I just spoke to our great General Mattis just now, who reconfirmed that, and I quote, Ryan was a part of a highly successful raid that generated large amounts of vital intelligence that will lead to many more victories in the future against our enemy. Ryan's legacy is etched into eternity. Thank you. Ryan is looking down right now, you know that, and he's very happy because I think he just broke a record. For as the Bible teaches us, there is no greater act of love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. Ryan laid down his life for his friends, for his country, and for our freedom. And we will never forget Ryan.
You'll build, or the wealth you'll amass, or the people around you all kissing your ass. There are two kinds of people. Which one will you be? A loser like them? Would you like to finish? Or a winner?
Like me.
Donald Trump, everybody. Thanks for coming. We'll be right back with music.
I also recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. 52 years they've been working on that. They've been working on that for 52 years. They couldn't get anything. Every year people would fly in, stay, wine, dine, have a good time, and leave. Nothing would happen. 52 years. I got it done in one day. And instead of these endless wars, we're forging peace in the Middle East and peace without blood all over the sand. I did more in 47 months than Joe Biden did in 47 years. It's true. So I proudly received the endorsements of the Fraternal Order of Police, the National Association of Police Organizations, the National Troopers Coalition, the International Union of Police Associations, the National Latino Police Officers Association, the Florida Police Chiefs, and all of these incredible organizations, plus all over the country. And when I asked them, name one organization, give me one organization during our debate where he was saved by the moderator about 4 times, he couldn't answer it. Name one law enforcement organization, he couldn't name one. Then I said, say the words law enforcement, just say it. Couldn't do it. He couldn't say it. Where do these people come from? But we were all set to go in. They heard we were going in. We informed them we were going in, and they sent their police to do it, and we never even had to go in. But we can solve those problems in a matter of literally minutes. Thank you. Don't say that, I'll start to cry, and that wouldn't be good for my image. You don't want to see me cry. I'll start to cry.
Look, we have a country, we have borders. We have no border right now. We don't have a country. We have to create, number one, we're going to build a wall. Number two, we're going to...
Okay.
Oh, listen to this. Even with your crowd, I hear that.
No, they love
but we want,
they love the wall.
No.
People love the wall.
We have to have a wall. We have to have a border. And in that wall, we're going to have a beautiful, big, fat door where people they come into the country. And they come in. Now listen to this.
Okay.
A beautiful door where people can come into the country, but they have to come in legally.
Okay.
That's what a country is all about.
A little role playing. You're you. I'm the president of Mexico. You call me up. Okay.
Well,
you meet with me. Okay.
Sure,
Ready? Like.
Sure.
Donald.
Number one.
¿Cómo está?
Are you almost $45 billion, a trade deficit?
Yeah.
The wall you're talking about $5 billion to $7 billion. It's something that actually is very easy to build. It'll be not a penetrable wall. This will be a serious wall.
Can I suggest something? Can I
Yes,
suggest something?
Go ahead.
How about 2 walls? Okay. Each of them
connected?
No, not connected. 2 walls, one here, one there, in between a moat.
And a nice resort.
Filled with fire.
Oh, yeah.
And fireproof crocodiles. Is that enough?
Well, you know,
what do we do? How do we build a wall that will actually keep
I'll tell you
people
what,
out?
the interesting thing. 2,000 years ago, you have the Great Wall of China. It's 13,000 miles long.
Jesus helped build
Here
that.
we're really talking about, you're right.
Yeah.
But here you're really talking about 1,000 miles. You're talking about 1,000 miles because there's certain areas. It's 2,000, but you need it in 1,000 miles. We can have a great and beautiful wall. It'll be up, it'll stop, we'll have our border, and guess what? Nobody comes in unless they have their papers, and they come in legally.
Okay.
And we stop crime, and we stop problems, and we stop drug trade, which is massive. You know, we have so much drug trade. The cartels are pouring through, just like there's nothing, pouring through Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. The money goes out, the drugs come in. We're going to stop it.
I started becoming politically involved 2019, and I was living in Thailand, actually, looking at the chaos of America. And I saw that all my friends from New York City, I'm from New York City, they all were like very anti-Trump. And I said, how is it possible that I rarely see any good news about this guy? So I took it upon myself to start researching some of the policies and acts that Trump passed. And what I found out, I was so mad that I never heard about these things. The 2 policies that really stood out to me when I first started researching was the Preventing Animal Cruelty Torture Act of Animals, and second was the right to try. And I thought that these were such groundbreaking policies. Why wasn't the mainstream media all over them? And then I started doing more research about Charlottesville, and I found out that he did condemn racism in that same exact speech.
I was interviewed a couple of weeks by George Stephanopoulos, and it was a tough interview, but it was fine. I don't say, like, give me the answers or the questions. Do you ever see where they ask him a question and then he starts reading the answer? That means he has the answers to... I never saw anything like what's going on in my entire life. They asked, how about, did you see that a week ago where it said, move it up a little closer, I can't read the damn answer. This is the fake news. I've been saying it. I am so proud of the fact that I've exposed these people for what they are. I'm telling you. Look at all that equipment. That's millions of dollars worth of equipment. And you know what? If they were truthful, our country would come together so fast. It's really true. They're a big part of the problem.
I kept my promise, recognized the true capital of Israel, and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. And every president promised to do it. Every president said they were going to do that for many, many decades. They all were going to do that. Nobody did it because once they got in office, there was a lot of pressure on you not to do it. I can tell you I was called by every foreign leader, please don't do it, please don't do it. I told the story. I said, listen, tell them I'll call them back in a couple of days. Then I did it. I called them back. Hey, what's up?
We're revitalizing our partnerships around the world and insisting that other nations pay their fair share in NATO. They weren't paying up, and now many of them are. Some of them still don't pay like they should. They're delinquent. You know that word? They're delinquent.
One of the most sinister weapons of the extreme left culture is a thing called cancel or cancel culture. They want to cancel our entire heritage. If you do not repeat each and every one of their lies. You will be banned, censored. Big tech titans, what they do, they harass, they expel, they fire you from your job or denied the chance to earn a living. Here in Michigan, a teacher was fired for tweeting that Trump is our president. She got fired. To combat the toxic left-wing propaganda in our schools, I recently announced that we're launching a new pro-American lesson plan for students called the 1776 Commission. We will teach our children the greatness and glory of America, if they don't know it. But, you know, they're not being taught that. They're being taught that we're not great. I've also issued an executive order to prohibit the teaching of critical race theory in the federal government.
We are free! 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 We're back in the blue! We're not going back to blue! We're back to blue! We're back to blue! 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 Back to blue!
I'd like to say to all the media assembled here that I wish they would quit lying about what you've done specifically for the black community. So you got radical liberal journalists like Joy Reid from MSNBC, Don Lemon from CNN, Roland Martin, who are putting more poison into the black community than any drug dealer, who are killing more black folks than any white person with a sheet over their face. How are they doing it? Spreading these lies about the economy you had, Mr. President, before the virus was a continuation of Obama. That's just factually not true. I have a degree in accounting. I keep up with the economy. They're lying. So to all these folks on MSNBC, CNN, Roland Martin, what, are you afraid to have real black Republicans who know what the hell they're talking about? If you want to know the truth, if you want us to dissect the Obama economy, let's do it.
The country, if we had the one man, and it's really not that big a situation. You know, people say, well, what could anybody do as president? The one man could turn this country around. The one proper president could turn this country around. I firmly believe that.
If you lost your fortune today, what would you do tomorrow?
Maybe I'd run for president. I don't know.